So before you begin, I would like to make a motion that in the absence of Supervisor Bigford, that our board clerk Cindy Osmond chair tonight's meeting.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So I would like to call this meeting, special regular meeting of the Saugatuck Township Board meeting to order on Wednesday, April 9, 2025 at 6 p.m. I'll call the roll. Aldrich.
Here.
Osmond here. Helmer.
Here.
Marcy.
Here.
Bigford is excused. So we have four board members here tonight. We can move on to reports. And we have a presentation from Chris Sheila from the Ottawa County Drain Commissioner's Office.
Yeah.
We were talking about.
Oh, did you?
Good evening, I'm Chris Sheila, the Allegan County Drain Commissioner. Just wanted to come in and I brought you a map of all you guys' drains that you have in Saugatuck Township. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure know the one we're currently working on is the Warnock replacing that culvert. We just was out there tonight and checked on the guys and it's coming along nicely, so should be back together here shortly. It'll be nice to have that open up again. Yeah, just wanted to give you a little update. We moved buildings. We're no longer in the courthouse anymore. We're now out at the county services building. We got an office out there with everyone else, kind of the service center area. So, just a few things we've been working on, some new technology, trying to get a little more mobile iPads and stuff like that for our drain inspections and being able to show the public what, here's your address, this is where the drain lays and stuff like that. We've been working on that, some other achievements that we've been getting there. So, but yeah, just wanted to come in here and reintroduce myself again and see if you have any questions, suggestions, or input on ways that we could better serve Saugatuck Township as well as your citizens. So,
You were newly elected in November, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
It's nice to see you. So,
Yeah. So gotta make the round again and say hi to everyone.
yeah. We've got a few drains here.
Yeah. Saugatuck keeps us busy at times. No, all good. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Feel free to reach out to our office. We got a new thing too that we put on our webpage. If you got a drain issue or problem you think it is, you can fill it out online and it comes straight to our secretary who then either forwards it to myself or Brent Skolten in our office, and then we get out there and advise whether it's ours, not ours, or try to get the road commission involved. It's theirs. Yeah, try to work with everyone. So excellent.
Thank
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is the treasury report.
New format, so. Okay, so I'm very pleased to report a lot of this information. So our cash on hand in the bank as of the first of this month was $2.233 million. It decreased by about $86,000 during March. We had some significant payments out to Newhoff, our engineers, Meredith and Progressive for the exterior of the building and some park and cemetery work. But having said that, our account went up. So we're considering probably moving some of that to our MyClass investor pool later this month because that's a high amount. It's positive, but we don't need that much cash in the bank locally. Let's see, permits continue to run ahead of budget. The overall general fund revenues currently are at 94% of what's budgeted for the fiscal year. And we are 14% ahead of where we should be as of April 1st. On the general fund expense side, we're 19% below what's budgeted. And we've spent 72% going into the fiscal year, which will end in June. Tax year 2024, as you all know, ended officially for us on March 1st. We got payment this week, didn't make the report from the county on the unpaid collection taxes, $194,000 came from the county to make us good with them on our property taxes. We've made some upgrades to the system. People can now pay their property taxes via ACH, which is new, and that's without fees, unlike credit cards, which is with fees. Let's see, on the investments front, again, very positive to report. Our total investment value as of April 1st is $5.9 million. It went up $9,000 from February. We'll see how things do this month, but the markets went up today. So let's see, there is one of our investments that matures this month, and we'll be discussing with our advisor on that. You know, where to reinvest that amount. And I mentioned we're gonna move with some more to my class this month, and those are the highlights from the treasury. Do you have any questions?
Planning Commission report. At our last planning commission meeting, the planning commission discussed the proposed lakeshore overlay ordinance. The planning commission overwhelmingly recommends to the board to accept and adopt that ordinance as it's written, with the exception of changing underground pools to in-ground pools. And they also had a discussion about a proposed office building near Sanctuary Trail, and that was just a discussion, no decisions were made. That was it for the planning commission. So we have a manager report.
We get to continue to make progress on the installation of the new water main on Riverside Drive and Dugout Road. They've installed little under 600 feet of water main as of now, and we're hoping to do bacteria testing on Monday for that portion of the water main. That's one of the trickiest parts, the southern portion. So we're really happy that we've made it through that part, and then we plan to continue forward. We're a tiny bit behind schedule. That area required a lot of sensitivity. We were dealing with wetland area, changes in topography, existing structures in the right of way, landscaping in the right of way. We wanted to be as respectful as possible, but now it looks like more like clear sailing. So we should finish before Memorial Day, which is like our kind of like absolute hard deadline. So that is all moving forward. We did host a private tour of Lakeshore Drive with the director of the road commission, the chair of the road commission board, Brad Levers, our county commissioner, Jim Story, our former county commissioner chair. So we hosted Bill Heisinger on a private tour of personal private tour of Lakeshore Drive, just to show him, you know, what the area looks like right now, and give him an update on where we are in the process. We did apply for a build grant to reconstruct a section of Lakeshore Drive, or to construct a new road about a quarter mile inland. So we won't find out about that until June, but he was here visiting and he was able to stop by and give us some time, and Supervisor Abby Bickford was here. We're continuing to work on determining the scope of work for the Blue Star Drain project on Blue Star Highway, so approximately Old Allegan Road to 134th Avenue. So we met with the road commission, the drain office. The drain office is okay with the township delaying the installation of the drain until we determine if we want a enclosed drain or if we want to go with a stormwater sewer. So we're continuing to work with the road commission and the drain office on that. And I think that in our strategic planning meeting, the question came up, do we want to keep Blue Star 2 lanes? Would we like a center turn lane? The answer to that question has not been determined, and there's a lot of information to look at. So we're going to keep following up with that question. But until we can get clarity on that, that's also going to determine what the scope of the project is. But we're continuing to talk about that. A lot of things in park recreation. We applied for 2 Michigan Natural Resource Trust Fund grants. One was to acquire a new park property, 120 acres on the Kalamazoo River. The other one was for a 3-mile extension of the Blue Star Trail from approximately Wiley Road to M89. So both of those projects have been successfully submitted. And I've got news, I think today or yesterday, that both were administratively complete. So that's a big hurdle that we're over, which is great. The Parks Commission awarded a phase 1 of the master plan, implementation of phase 1 of the master plan for the Tails and Trails Park to a contractor. So we issued the notice of award and we hope to start that project either late June or early July. And then the Parks Commission also voted to go out to bid for improvements at Sundown Park on Lakeshore Drive. So we don't know what those bids are gonna be, but we really wanna see what the pricing is right now. Not sure exactly when we're gonna implement that project, but we just wanted to be ahead of the ball and see what pricing is like. Parks Commission also voted to create a subcommittee to assist with the development of a township land conservation program. This is part of the recently completed strategic plan for land conservation and public access expansion. So they approved setting up that subcommittee. We are going to connect with the Land Conservancy of West Michigan to get some feedback on what we should be doing and how they run their land conservation program. And then we got good news today. I know in here it said that the Friends of the Blue Star Trail, City of Douglas and Township submitted a concept letter to the Michigan Health Endowment Fund requesting funding for engineering costs for the southern extension of the Blue Star Trail. We got word from the Health Endowment Fund that they are encouraging us to submit a full application. We requested $350,000 towards engineering costs. So they're encouraging us to put together a full application. So I'll be working on that. I may need to bring in the township engineer for some assistance, but we feel really good about that. So I think that's great news. And I think that's kind of a lot of the highlights.
Thank you. So now we'll go ahead and open the public comment portion of the meeting. We ask that you speak up and state your name and your address. And to limit your comments to 3 minutes, unless you're speaking for a group, you may go to 5 minutes. And this is really not a question and answer period. It's a time for you to voice your comments or concerns to the board. So is there anybody in the first row? Let's do it first.
Sorry, I have a meeting to get to, so. Started on a good note. I was on the Holland Sentinel app today. I noticed that Saugatuck was recognized by the USA Today as the 9th best city to live in the United States. One behind Mackinac City.
Wow.
So,
Not this week.
not this week. No, it is not this week, but I still pretty bad. But anyway, so I just saw that. I just wanted to recognize that that's pretty great that between that and the recognition that Opal Beach got a couple weeks ago. That just good for tourism and good for the community, but anyway, on that note, one personnel issue we had, the assistant treasurer is retiring effective Thursday, tomorrow, I think. And she is being replaced by Jennifer Teen from Douglas. So Jennifer Teen was formerly at the clerk's office, moved to Douglas as treasurer there, and now she's moving back to Dumont Lake to be the assistant treasurer. So wonderful news. She's a great person. She's done a lot of that stuff and she'll be great in that role for the future. So, and you might mention this in your meeting also, but Interurban is expanding and we've been working with them. They have signed an interlocal agreement with Fenville. They're talking about going into Pullman. I don't know if that's a done deal yet. They're going to down there. And they're close to finalizing a route into South Haven.
Ooh,
So,
I forgot Lake Town.
yeah, also Lake Town. Yeah, I was gonna add that too. Lake Town, they're doing a pilot program there. to determine ridership and how many people ride, you know, to determine how that's gonna work. So that's exciting for the residents of this area that they can do that. And then, I'll end on on a sad note, but, we have gotten the first news of budget cuts from above. That official, you know, we all hear in the news, this is gonna be cut and that's gonna be cut and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, we've gotten notified that the health department has had some funds that programs that were using COVID ARPA funds that had not been distributed yet. That they received notice that the rest of that funding had gotten frozen. So. And that's the first we've seen that, an official word coming down, and we have heard rumblings of other grants, other programs that might be affected. And nothing, we don't have anything official on anything, but we are preparing to handle those one by one on a case by case basis. Cause I'm not sure that our county budget, it has enough extra to say foot the bill to make up the difference between what might get cut, so. We might have to make some tough decisions then down the road, so if you hear something, that's why, so, but that is the first official that we've heard, so. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, how's the fiber going? So, is it progressing quickly?
Yes,
Or
it
I
is.
haven't had the knock on my door yet.
This
I know.
this is the last area, sadly, in the county
Okay.
where they are planning to get to.
Oh, okay. But it's
This-
coming.
So, let me go back. North of the river is before south of the river, so you were kind of in a limbo zone, you guys are kind of in a limbo zone here. You know, and Saugatuck already had some infrastructure that existed already, you know, so there's less they need to do. Cause other companies that have already, have a system in there in place, so, but for sure, once you go south of the river. Or go close to the river, then that's for sure one of the last areas they're intending to get to, so. But they are progressing
It's coming.
as fast as they can, and it's coming, and they're working on that, so. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Is there anybody in the first row that would like to make a public comment? In the second row, anybody that would like to make a public comment? In the third row, anybody who would like to make a public comment? Anybody in the room would like to? Hearing none, we'll close the public comment portion of the meeting. And move on to agenda approval. Is there anybody that would like to make a motion?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Is there support?
I'll support.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The agenda is approved. And the next item of business is the consent agenda. Those are items that are typically routine in nature and don't require a lot of further discussion. So is there anybody that would like to make a motion regarding the consent agenda?
I will move to approve the consent agenda as presented here.
Support?
I'll support.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. And let's see. Judiciary oversight. Legislative actions, lakeside overlay ordinance adoption. Is there any commissioners that have any questions about this? This is about the lakeshore overlay protection area to prevent unfortunate development along the lake shore. And it's a living document and can be amended. I think everybody's probably already heard all this discussion at the planning commission meeting and at the committee of the whole. So, any questions for Lynette or for me?
Well, we reviewed and discussed it and it sounds like it's a pretty good plan.
The planning commission overwhelmingly supports the adoption of this ordinance.
And I did get word from Lene today that Eagle got back to her and they're very supportive of the ordinance. And they would actually like to be able to share this document with all lakeshore communities that do not have protections along the lakeshore. So I think that that is definitely reassuring that, you know, the top experts in the state for coastal protection, coastal management are kind of giving it their support and also saying that this could be used as a template for other communities. I think like we did for the comprehensive update to the zoning ordinance, that we just keep extra attention on it for, especially for the first year. So if there is an unintended consequence, or there's an issue that comes up that clearly we didn't anticipate, that we can have the ability to come in there and do a text amendment and clarify. And then, you know, that's always a possibility, but that's what we did for the zoning ordinance, and I think that we continue to do that for this overlay district.
Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to make a motion regarding the lakeshore ordinance?
I'd be happy to. I'd like to move to adopt ordinance number 2025-01. Ordinance to amend the Saugatuck Township zoning map, sections 5.20, 7.120, 11.90, 22.10, and table 2.20B of the township zoning ordinance to create a new lakeside overlay district and to rezone all land within the township that lies to the west of Lakeshore Drive to be within the boundaries of the district.
I'll support. We have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Yay!
Thank you, everybody.
So moving on to item number 13, the wildlife management resolution. This, Franco, do you have any?
I just have one, so I handed you an updated resolution. It is the exact same thing, but we got word from the DNR earlier. And it's super small, but they recommended that when we reference like sharpshooters, licensed nuisance wildlife control operators, that we don't use the phrase hunt or hunting, that we use cull or culling. And so the resolution before you changes any reference to hunts or huntings in the resolution in reference to sharpshooters to culls and cullings. But we can, Stacy and I can answer any questions as to the content of the resolution.
One thing I wanted to mention that we kind of forgot the other day is we are gonna plan on putting the information we've learned about not feeding deer, it's illegal, it's not helping, it's making matters worse, what. You know, how to maybe go about it, calling reference numbers if people are interested in financing their own. So we did talk about that, so it's coming, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that we can do, like what Stacey's saying, we can really do a lot with just communicating what is already allowed. It wasn't clear to the committee that you could hunt on private property in the township without a permit during hunting season, of course, and with the appropriate license, but that wasn't allowed in the city, so just providing that information and then, information about what is legal, what is illegal, to just assist people with better understanding how they might play a role in population control of the deer population, the management of the deer population. So we do plan to have a section on the website dedicated to that with pertinent information and then think about other ways we might get that information out, whether it's like an e-blast or it's a mailer or it's an article in the paper. So yeah, that's something that we're thinking about, like just how communication could play a role in helping the community better understand how they can play a role in the management of the deer population.
Have we heard anything further relative to Douglas and the city of Saugatuck on this action?
They should be approving a very similar resolution. Stacy, Beth last name.
That's a grandson.
Ransom, that's it, Beth Ransom and Tony Shippa and I sat down and we discussed this. We made a few clarifications, so we anticipate that both cities are going to pass a very similar looking resolution to this one.
Douglas and Saugatuck had to open up, they weren't under our same. What's the word, they aren't allowed to, yeah, the DNR doesn't allow their solution as wide open as ours, so they had to kind of fine tune it.
Well,
So that they,
they're much smaller.
yeah, we're, in
Smaller.
the country, yeah.
Yeah, I will point out though, if you adopt this resolution, part of the language of the motion is to direct staff to prepare a draft ordinance to permit control, the word would be culling on public lands.
Right.
So that, yeah,
So far, we don't have any plans for that, but if it comes to be that, we'll be able to discuss it then. Yeah.
mhm.
Well, I'd like to particularly thank this Aldrich trustee, I was gonna say commissioner, we were talking about cities, trustee Aldrich, and all the hard work on this.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting, interesting committee. I know a lot about deer I didn't know before.
And from my perspective, that's moved a lot quicker than I think we thought it would. So
Right,
I think
yeah.
this is
Well, they're
great.
hoping to start this in the next hunting season, so
And I'm
we've been
proud,
moving.
I'm proud that we're first.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So is your committee finished?
No,
Oh,
we're still
okay.
meeting. I just found out that they raised the price of hunting license to $150. And so that'll be something I'm sure we'll discuss at the next meeting, but maybe we can help hunters, maybe finance some of that. It's a lot for one deer,
Mhm.
So I don't know, that's something to bring up. So it's ongoing. And then I think we're gonna continue to be a committee in case there's other wildlife that
Right.
it's a problem. Our thing.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to take action on this resolution.
I'll move to adopt resolution 2025-10, a resolution acknowledging recommendations of the Tri-Community Wildlife Advisory Committee and direct staff to prepare necessary draft ordinance to permit controlled culling on public lands.
Is there support?
I'll support.
Motion by Marcy, support by Aldrich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. And item number 15.2, the Kalamazoo Lake Harbor Authority funding request. Franco, would you like to make a comment on that?
Just that, kind of reiterating my comments yesterday, that this is a very challenging authority because it lacks funding and it lacks staffing and management of the harbor itself is quite complicated. And the authority believes that it's necessary if we're gonna have any kind of traction to bring in an expert contractor or a contractor with expertise in harbor management. We've identified an engineering firm that has expertise in this area and has worked with multiple municipalities in the area before and is very well, equipped to assist us. The cost would be $12,000 split evenly between the three communities, so it'd be a $4,000 cost to the township which we would allocate in the next fiscal year budget. So these services would start after July 1. And then the motion before you, approval of the proposal is contingent upon both cities also approving this proposal.
Any questions? Or,
No,
okay. I would entertain a motion.
Well, I'd like to move to approve $4,000 in funding to the Kalamazoo Lake Harbor Authority to support the ongoing services proposal from Edgewater Resources, contingent upon funding approval by the cities of Douglas and Saugatuck.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
A motion by Helmrich, support by Marcy. Is there any further discussion?
I'll just mention, because you've heard this from me before, I've been a big supporter of getting us more involved in the Harbor Authority. I served as the township non-voting rep for 4 years. I know Greg Wycamp from Edgewater. They did a lot of work for Douglas, so I think this is an exciting step.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Boy, it's been down to the end here. Back to public comments. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make a public comment at this time?
I just want to thank you very, 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 very much for just all this. We just,
Thank
we're all here for that reason, and there's a lot more that couldn't be, but love you guys. I appreciate everything.
Thank you.
Board member comments. We'll start with John.
Oh, yeah, the only one I have, I mentioned this yesterday, tomorrow at 11, we're having the representatives from both Saugatuck and Douglas City Council and their managers meeting with 2 of us from our township board and one of our managers for hopefully an hour-and-a-half discussion with Representative Joey Andrews. We did this 2 years ago when he first got elected. I counted up from the original agenda that time, 30%, at least 30% of the original points have been accomplished. So we've added many tomorrow, probably more than we'll ever get to, but both cities contributed, Daniel contributed, so.
It's not a public.
It's
meeting,
not
right?
public, that's why the office will be closed.
Okay.
It's not an official. It's a conversation with our state representatives.
Okay. Brenda?
I've got nothing,
Okay.
except that it's snowing.
All right.
What day is this?
All those opposed?
That's good for me.
Do you have anything?
I don't have anything either, so.
The only thing, this way, I don't mean to be rude in texting, but there is a major gas outage.
Oh, where?
So, the Red Cross is gonna be setting up some like emergency warming stations, so if you don't have gas and you have nowhere to go and it's cold, look at the township website. I'm gonna be on a phone call shortly with Fenville. But we'll be posting information about locations that you can go that are warm, in case you don't have gas. If you're on propane, you're fine, but if you are on natural gas, just keep a lookout that we will be posting information on the website and potentially an e-blast about locations that you can go to that are warm.
Is there
That
any
just
word on
happened.
where?
Oh, yeah.
The outage is, the Fenville manager is trying to find out the exact map, the location of where the outage is, but I think it's significant.
It's
So-
in Clyde Township.
What?
It's down in Clyde Township on 120.
Hopefully it's south.
I think that we're impacted. That's why I say it now.
Yeah.
No, I know, thanks for that, that's.
Thank you.
vital.
On that note.
Any other comments from the board?
Well, yes. Uh-oh. Multiple days.
What?
We're on a generator here, right?
No, we need to get.
Oh.
But even if we had a
Yeah,
generator,
wait a minute.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so Joey's gonna be cold.
we'll have to tell them to bundle up.
Okay,
Do we need a motion?
We don't need a motion, but we didn't have one.
I will wait there. Go see if we.
Okay, yeah. Okay, meeting adjourned at 5:34. 6:34, yeah.
Our clock is stopping.